So this weekend we are seeing the return of the FA Cup, and in today's video we're going to be predicting what we think is going to go down in this weekend's fixtures. We have got a lot of games to go over this weekend, so do let me know in the comments down below what are your score predictions for what you think is going to happen. What I decided to do for this video, I've sort of split it into two halves. The first half of the video will be going through all the championship clubs playing in the FA Cup this weekend, and then the second half of the video we'll go through the rest of the teams playing. So like I said, do let me know in the comments down below what are your score predictions going into this weekend, and then if you do successfully manage to get any of your score predictions correct, your comment will be included into the next video. And there have been quite a few championship clubs, Preston included, who've been quite busy in the transfer window lately, so it'll be interesting to see if any new players get some starts this weekend. But without further ado, let's hop into these games. As we'll start things out with Man United going up against Reading. With Reading currently sat in the bottom three of the championship, it would take some doing for them to pull off an upset in this one, in my opinion. I'm not sure how they're going to approach it because their priority this season has to be survival in the championship. Going up against the Man United side, who I do expect will rotate quite a few of their players. They have been looking quite good since sacking Mourinho. They've won their past 4 games in the Premier League and have been playing with a lot more freedom going forward. I expect they'll take that attacking philosophy into this game, and with Reading being quite suspect defensively, Man United could get quite a lot of joy out of this. I expect players like Lukaku is probably going to be starting. He's not been playing much for United recently, and a couple of other players will be coming back into the Man United starting 11 for this one, I'm sure. For a score prediction, I'm going to say 3-0 United. After that, we then got Sheff Wednesday going up against Luton Town. This one's not going to be an easy ride for Sheff Wednesday, with Luton currently sat second in League One. They're unbeaten in their last 30 matches, and I believe that Luton are also the top scorers in League One currently, scoring 49 goals already this season. Sheff Wednesday, an interesting one. They've appointed Steve Bruce as their new manager, but he won't be coming in to actually manage them until the 1st of February, I believe. So quite an interesting one. Sheff Wednesday are sort of in limbo until that time, really, and if I'm being honest, I could see Luton pulling off an upset in this one. I expect quite a few goals to be scored. I'm going to say that this one will finish as a 2-2 draw. Fancy Luton to get a replay out of that one. Then next up we got Shrewsbury going up against Stoke City. Another game where, if I'm being honest, I could see an upset coming from this one. Stoke so far this season haven't exactly set the championship alight. Going into this season, they were one of the favourites to win the league, and they're currently lingering around mid-table. A lot of the fans aren't currently happy with Gary Rowett and the way that things are going, and Shrewsbury could take quite a bit of confidence from this one. With Stoke not always hitting full heights on the road so far this season, I'm actually going to say that Shrewsbury will walk away with a 2-1 home victory. And then we got an old championship game going on between West Brom and Wigan Athletic. These two sides met in the championship a couple of weeks ago, where West Brom walked away with a 2-0 home victory. In this game, I expect to see quite similar things, really. The mood around Wigan Athletic at this point in time isn't the best. I do expect both sides to make changes for this one, so it could go either way, but looking at both squads, I think it is going to be West Brom who've got the better squad depth, and for that reason, I'm going to back them for a 2-0 home victory. And then we see West Ham going up against Birmingham. West Ham can be quite an inconsistent side in the Premier League. You know, a couple of weeks ago we saw them beat Southampton by 2-1. Felipe Anderson scoring 2 goals in that game. The game after that they then lost to Burnley, and then most recently we've seen them draw 2-2 against Brighton. So going up against Birmingham, I do think that the away side could throw a spanner in the works for this one, with Birmingham being very resilient defensively so far this season, with one of the best defensive records in the Championship. Throughout the month of December they kept more clean sheets than any other Championship club. West Ham could find Birmingham quite hard to break down in this one, and with the way that Birmingham like to play fast on the counter-attack, they could also cause them some problems. For this one, I'm going to fancy Birmingham to get a replay from this one. I'll say it'll finish as a 1-1 draw. And then we got Accrington Stanley going up against Ipswich Town. Ipswich's record in the FA Cup in recent years has been absolutely shambolic. We've had 3 World Cups since Ipswich last won an FA Cup match, so Accrington have got to fancy their chances for this one. Accrington have been going fairly well in League One as well, making that step up from League 2. They're currently sat in mid-table, and they've been playing some decent stuff so far this season. Going up against Ipswich, I do see quite a few goals being scored in this game, really, with Ipswich defensively looking all over the place. I expect they'll make a few changes for this one, and I can't see the FA Cup being the main priority for Ipswich this season with the current situation they're in the Championship, currently sat bottom of it. So for this game, I'm going to back Accrington Stanley for a 3-2 home victory. Then we got another old Championship game going on between Aston Villa and Swansea City, and I don't know why, but I am fancying the away side for this one. I've got a bit of a gut feeling that Swansea will walk away going into the next round. Aston Villa, I feel, will rotate their squad a little bit. It'll give Dean Smith a good chance to experiment with a couple of players who haven't had the most game time so far this season, and Swansea were looking to get back to their best with that 4-1 away victory they had against Reading last time out in the Championship. Aston Villa have hit a little bit of a rough patch in their season. They've had a couple of inconsistent results lately, and that could continue into the FA Cup. I'm going to say that Swansea will walk away with a 2-1 away victory. And then we see Bolton going up against Walsall. Bolton, I feel like, more than anything, just need a performance in this game to turn the mood around the club after that horrific display they had against Hull City, being demolished by 6-0. They just need something to change the mood around the club, and a game against Walsall in the FA Cup may be a good distraction for Bolton. At this point in time, they are back in the relegation zone in the Championship. Walsall, though, haven't been on the best run in League One lately, and I feel like Bolton could take something from this game. I don't see ultimately goals being scored, but I will back Bolton for a 1-0 home victory. And then we've got Brentford going up against Oxford. I feel like this could be a game which does bring a lot of goals this weekend. With both sides' defences not being very convincing so far this season, Oxford currently sat in the relegation zone of League One. They've lost their last 3 matches. They have scored a few goals so far this season, though. Oxford, it's just been keeping them out, which has been a problem for them. The same can be said for Brentford as well. So for this one, I feel like it'll be end-to-end football, and I will back Brentford for a 4-2 home victory. I feel like Brentford can score a flurry of goals when they want to. They seemingly have got a bit of their mojo back lately and have looked a bit better defensively, but for this one, I'll say 4-2 Brentford. And then we've got Chelsea going up against Nottingham Forest. Now, Nottingham Forest, a lot of drama's been going around the club lately, with them hitting a bit of a rough patch in their season. A lot of drama going on around Aita Karanka and what his future is going to be at the club. They picked up a fantastic result last time out in the Championship, though, managing to beat top of the table Leeds United, and they could bring some of that confidence into this game they've got against Chelsea. Chelsea, they'll be fancying their chances for winning the FA Cup. They got a very good record of it in recent years, and I don't think they can take Nottingham Forest too lightly. You know, they've got some players in there who can cause some upset. For this game, I'm going to back Chelsea for a 2-1 home victory, although I don't think they'll have it all their own way. And then we've got Derby County going up against Southampton. Probably a lot's going to be made of this game because it's Derby and they're managed by Frank Lampard going up against a Premier League team. I do fancy Derby for this one, actually. Southampton are going brilliantly at the moment. Obviously, they're sat in the relegation zone of the Premier League, and with Derby scoring quite a few goals so far this season, I expect they'll just look to take the game to Southampton in this one, and I'm going to back Derby for a 3-1 home victory in this game. I do fancy a few goals to be scored, and I fancy the home side for that one for sure. And then we see Middlesbrough going up against Peterborough United. I don't see all too much being in it between these two sides. Peterborough currently sat just outside the playoffs of League One, and Middlesbrough currently sat in the top 6. So far this season, defensively, Middlesbrough have been very good, and so it's another game where I don't see all too many goals being scored in. Middlesbrough's new signing, Van La Parra, could make his debut in this one, and that will give them a bit more creativity and pace going forward. Gives them the option to break on the counter-attack for this one as well, and I fancy Peterborough a little bit for this one. I'm going to back it to go to a replay. I'll say this one will finish as a 1-1 draw. And then we got Bristol City going up against Huddersfield Town. It's another one of those games where the Championship club is probably going to be fancying their chances against Premier League opposition. With Huddersfield currently sat at the bottom of the Premier League, only on 10 points, 8 points away from safety. Bristol City have been going quite well in the Championship lately. They're on a nice unbeaten run themselves. They've been managing to score a lot more goals recently, and defensively, they've been looking excellent. Huddersfield are probably going to rotate their squad for this game, give a couple of fringe players a chance, but for this one, I'm fancying Bristol City for it. I'll say they'll walk away with a 2-1 home victory. And then we've got Newcastle United going up against Blackburn Rovers. Currently, Newcastle are actually one of the lowest scoring teams in the Premier League. They're not sat in the bottom 3, but they've only scored 15 goals so far this season. Obviously, under Rafa Benitez so far, not getting the investment from Mike Ashley. The squad, it needs investment, and it's probably not going to come at Newcastle with the way things are currently going around the club. Going up against Blackburn Rovers, who have scored more than double what Newcastle have scored already this season. Blackburn scored 33 goals in the Championship. A couple of creative outlets they've got going forward. I do actually fancy Blackburn for this one. Newcastle can make themselves incredibly hard to break down, but they just lack that attacking edge to really finish off sides, and I'm going to back Blackburn for a 2-1 away victory for that game. I fancy them for the upset. And then we've got Norwich going up against Portsmouth, a game which I'm very much looking forward to seeing the outcome of. Two of the big hitters, one from League One, one from the Championship, with Portsmouth currently sat top of League One and Norwich second in the Championship. This will be a really engaging game of football, in my opinion. Both of them have played some fantastic stuff so far. Both of them have scored a lot of goals, and with Norwich being notorious for late drama, it's going to be a really end-to-end game of football, and I'm actually going to back Portsmouth for a 3-2 away victory. I've got a bit of a gut feeling about Pompey in this one. Into Sunday's games now, we then got Manchester City going up against Rotherham. Obviously, with Man City winning their game the other night against Liverpool, they're now back in the title race. And Man City, under Pep Guardiola, they're going to fancy their chances for winning quite a few trophies this season. I mean, no doubt about that. And going up against Rotherham, Rotherham so far, they can make themselves pretty hard to break down. They have had an attacking threat as well, with players like Will Vokes playing well for them lately. Smith being a physical presence for them going forward, and they've got a bit of pace out wide as well. Maybe they can cause a bit of an upset in this one, but do I see it happening? I don't really. I think Man City will probably be quite comfortable in this game. I'm going to back City for a 4-0 home victory. Sorry, Rotherham fans. And we've got Millwall going up against Hull, another all-championship match, with Hull currently on one of the best runs of form in the Championship. They've been surging up the league lately. Although Millwall can be quite tricky customers at home, I'm going to fancy this one to go to a replay. I'll say 2-2. Then we see my team Preston going up against Doncaster, and what has been happening at Preston lately? We've just had a flurry of transfer activity coming in. Yesterday, we had 2 players signing for us. They've day before that we had another one, and possibly even today when you guys are watching this we could be bringing in another player as well. After what was quite a disappointing transfer window in the summer, we're finally looking back up again. We're spending a bit of money now, and things are looking on a more positive slant for Preston at this point in time. Possibly we could have a couple of players returning from injury as well, which is going to be another added bonus, although I do expect quite a few of our youngsters to be given the run out against Doncaster. Doncaster have been going quite well themselves in League One. I don't want a replay from this game, but I will back Preston for a 2-1 home victory, although it wouldn't surprise me to see Doncaster pulling off something from this game. Then we see QPR going up against Leeds United. I expect Bielsa's going to make quite a few changes for this one, with Leeds hitting a bit of a rough patch in the Championship lately. Their squad depth I don't feel as if is the best compared to some of the other clubs at the top of the Championship. Some of the players who Leeds have got either in their reserves or on the bench don't quite have the same quality as the players in their starting 11. That was sort of shown in the game they had in the League Cup against Preston North End when they lost that game, when they made quite a few rotations, and I feel like this one could go down a similar path to that actually. I am going to fancy QPR for a 2-1 home victory. They've been going very well in the McLaren this season. And then for our last game with the Championship club, we got Sheff United going up against Barnet, and I would love Barnet to walk away going into the next round. It would be a fantastic story for them to get into the 4th round, being in the conference. But do I see that happening? I'm not so sure. I think that Sheffield United will probably have a bit too much quality for them in this game. At home lately they've been looking very good. They've been scoring a lot of goals in the Championship as of late, and I feel like their form will carry on into the FA Cup. So for this one, I'm going to fancy Sheffield United for a 3-1 home victory. So there were the games which are taking place, which feature a Championship club in the 3rd round of the FA Cup. Like I said, do leave it in the comments down below. What are your score predictions for the 3rd round? And then to round off the video, I will go through my score predictions for the rest of the games happening this weekend in the FA Cup. Tranmere going up against Spurs. I'm going to fancy Tranmere to get a replay from that one. I'll say it'll finish as a 1-1 draw. Burnley going up against Barnsley. I'll say Burnley 1-0. Everton going up against Lincoln. I'll say 2-1 Everton. Fleetwood against AFC Wimbledon. I'll fancy to finish as a 2-2 draw. Gillingham going up against Cardiff. I'm going to fancy Gillingham to get a replay from that one. Blackpool going up against Arsenal. Arsenal's defence is, I mean, it's been pretty all over the place, so I do see Blackpool scoring a goal, maybe even 2 in this one, but eventually I do see Arsenal's quality coming through. I'll say 3-1 Arsenal. Crystal Palace going up against Grimsby. I'll say 2-1 Palace. Fulham going up against Alden. I'll say 3-1 Fulham. Woking going up against Watford. I'm going to fancy Woking to get a replay from that one. Newport going up against Leicester. I think Leicester will just edge that one 2-1. And then on Monday we got Wolves going up against Liverpool. Liverpool I expect will make quite a few changes. Obviously so far this season they have been incredibly tight at the back, but maybe resting players like Van Dijk and Alisson, we could see a couple of leaks in their back line. And going up against a side like Wolves, who have been very good against the top 6 so far this season, maybe they can pull off a bit of an upset. I do think that Liverpool will want to be in as many competitions as possible this season, as they've got a brilliant chance of winning a few of them. I will just back Liverpool for a 3-2 away victory. That one could be a good game. But guys, there you have it. There are my FA Cup 3rd round score predictions for what I think is going to go down this weekend. So that will now wrap it up for this video, guys. So thank you very much for watching. If you did go on to enjoy, make sure you do leave a like. It is always massively appreciated. As well as that, make sure you subscribe for some regular Championship content. But apart from that, thank you very much, guys, and I'll see you all in the next one.